Today, I'm going to show you the easiest ways that you can improve your Instagram posts. If you don't know who I am, hi, I'm Chris. I run a creative agency full-time, so I do a lot of photography, videography, and social media for my clients. While I'm doing all the social media, I'm on social media a lot, I'm working with people, coaching people, and there's a few things that are really, really simple fixes that can improve the performance and aesthetic of your Instagram post. And I just want to go over a couple of those. Now, if you're looking for something groundbreaking that's going to give you instant exposure, this isn't that video. These are just simple basics that everyone should be doing on their posts. And if you're not, you're leaving a lot of upside on the table. So our first tip is to post vertical photos. So this might not seem like anything crazy, but when a photo is vertical, that means that it's taller than it is wide. It performs better on Instagram. Now, one of the reasons that it does that is the fact that when someone's scrolling through their timeline, it takes up more space on the feed, so they're more likely to see it. It also just tends to be more aesthetically pleasing and easier for people to see what's on the picture. So I'm not saying that every post has to be vertical and you can't ever post a horizontal or a square photo, but I would just try to have the majority of your posts be vertical when you have that option, and think about that as you're capturing content to post on your Instagram, to try to take more vertical photos than horizontal ones. Our next tip is to tag your location. A lot of people don't do it, and it's not going to make or break your post, but it just gives it that little bit extra exposure that you never know who's going to see it. And over time, if every post you tag your location or every post you don't tag a location, there's going to be a dramatic effect on how it affects your social media performance. Now, I'm not saying that you have to tag the specific business you're in or spot you're at or anything like that, but if you just tag a general area, cities, towns, nearby landmarks, even states work to just provide a little bit of context to the post for your followers, and your post will show up on that location and it'll give you a little bit more exposure. So for our third tip, it's another one you probably have guessed where this is going. It's to use hashtags. So again, it's not super complicated. I'm not going to go into complicated hashtag strategies in this video, but just make sure you're using some hashtags. I would use between 10 and 30 hashtags. Instagram caps it at 30, and 10 is kind of that bottom end of how many you would want to have. But just make sure they're relevant hashtags, and each hashtag you put just gives it another chance for someone to see that post, someone to enjoy that post, and someone to follow you. Tip number 4 is to edit your photos with a third-party editing app. A couple great ones are Snapseed, Visco, or Lightroom Mobile. All those are free to use, and you can really just add that extra layer of control to your photos. And you might not notice the difference at first, but once you get used to using them, you can create a more stylized look, and you can really bring out the detail that you want to showcase in that photo. So I just recommend each photo that you're going to post, throwing it in an editor, and just try to mess with it a little bit to make it a little bit more visually interesting. All right, so our fifth and final tip to improve your Instagram posts is another basic one, and it's to write a caption. Now, I've seen posts with no caption at all, and that I never recommend doing, but even if you've been using captions that are just 1 or 2 words, if you can elaborate on that and create something that is interesting for people to read and adds value just like the post does, you'll really find that it benefits your page as a whole. Now, I'll be the first to say I'm not perfect at this. All the time I do 1, 2 word captions, but as a rule of thumb, if you have the opportunity to elaborate, to add a longer caption, I think it's always beneficial, and you'll start to create a community around your page. Well, that wraps things up for this video. Hopefully you enjoyed those 5 tips to help improve your Instagram posts. If you have any extra tips that you feel like I left out, I'd love if you left them in the comments so I have a chance to look at them and see what your guys' ideas are.